and it cost me everything.
Impaired boating is impaired driving.
Hey guys, how you doing? Happy Thursday. It is Out of the Fog, a Local Matters bop featuring the best in arts and business and not-for-profit and everything else in between. We love them movers and shakers who are making our city and province a better place to be. And where would I be without my man to the left, the one and only DJ Slim Macho. What's up, boy? Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. Excellent. Thank you for asking.
I would like to ask you how the weekend that was and what you got up to.
The weekend was great. I played a banging party at Boca Tapas Bar. There at what I always forget the name of the little cove there, Cliffbeard's Cove, I think it is. Right. Right across from No Equal Records there, across from the courthouse. Yeah, our friend Steel Cut threw a party there. We combined a bit of Caribbean hip-hop flavor with some house music and techno, tech house. Axel Sunderland, Harding, and myself, along with DJ Coop. And it was a great night, I must say. It was banging. And that place is so small and kind of intimate, so you can get a small crowd in there, and it feels like a lot of people, so it was really good.
I love it. I'll tell you what, tonight is going to be our own little party. We got the best going on in arts and touring and someone doing some amazing social enterprise times. So stay tuned, guys. It's Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break.
Here we go.
You're watching Rogers TV, St. John's.
I'm trapping my father in our house. Please send help.
This is a Category 5 hurricane warning.
Dad, what do we do?
Is this an Uber?
Get angry!
Stop that! Why are you laughing?
Own it!
Get to the least!
You got shot in the leg.
You're watching Rogers TV, St. John's.
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back. It is Out of the Fog, as discussed in the opening. A local arts and business bop. We talk about all the goings-on all over the province, and it's an honor to be hanging out with you tonight. And speaking of honors and people who do amazing creative things, I want to turn your attention to the one and only Paul Power. How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Great to see you.
Good to see you.
Let's start where we met. Let's make it selfish, you know? TEDx, St. John's, amazing organization, ideas worth spreading for any of you guys that have not heard much about this organization. It's worldwide. And through a grueling process of selection and then mentorship, coaching, and training, what we end up with every year in our fair city is an elite lineup of incredible individuals with these ideas. And you were one.
I was. They have auditions or interviews, and I got chosen with, I think it was 7 or 8 other great speakers, and everybody had a unique voice and a unique story, and yeah, I was one of them. And I shared a story about Paul Power, who lives with a physical disability, and I use leg braces and crutches, and I told a story, sort of a coming-of-age story when I was around 18 or 19, and accepting the fact that I was physically different than a lot of people around me, and how I came to terms with that. And it's very timely. They just posted the talks online. So,
they did.
It's great to be with that group.
It is great, and they're lucky to have you and your story.
Oh, thank you.
It was incredibly disarming to hear, and I couldn't help but turn the lens on myself and all the things about ourselves that we perceive to be our weaknesses that are, in fact, our strengths. Isn't that the human condition, hey?
I think so. I think, you know, we are who we are by what we've experienced, right? And so I wouldn't be the person I am without what I've lived through, or even our own physicalities and that. And sometimes it's hard to think of that as a blessing when you're going through things, but ultimately it is if you manage to triumph over it, as they say, or at least take something as a learning experience of the human condition, all that.
Well, it brought us together, so you're welcome. You know.
I was just writing that in my diary last night. Yeah,
I know, yeah. I was watching through the window. It was weird for me, too.
Yeah.
I want to jump into where these gifts have taken the amazing man that you are, and that is to the stage and acting and producing and being involved in so many artistic endeavors. Why don't you let the watchers at home know about something that you're involved in right now that you're super proud of?
I'm really proud of. I have my own production company called Power Productions, which we started sort of informally a few years ago. And over the past year, we've become incorporated, and I have a board and all that. And I'm really proud of the fact that it's a production company here in St. John's, Newfoundland, that is dedicated to what we call the disability, deaf, and mad arts domain. So it's encouraging theater projects for people who identify as disabled or deaf, or even with mental health challenges. And it's something that's been lacking, not only in Newfoundland, but all in Atlantic Canada. There's no real company that I know of that sort of focuses on that. So I'm really happy that we've started to expand and do those projects. And we got a number of shows on the go. This is sort of the beginning of our 2019-2020 season. So
what does that look like? Because, and I'll set this up for people at home.
Yeah.
If you do not work in the arts or in production or theater, it is quite an adventure to be a part of financing, writing, creating, producing, touring productions. And each one has their own merit and their own power, am I right?
Absolutely. It is a lot of work, and it really is a work of, you have to be passionate about it. And sure. We have like a number of shows coming up, and I'm also a playwright and producer, as well as an actor and director. I got a great team with me, but it's many roles and many hats, and you're not always guaranteed that it's going to work, and it's a leap of faith to believe in the arts and believe in telling a story.
For sure. And where have your stories taken you?
Well, coming up for Power Productions, we're really excited. We got like a full season. Power Productions was sort of put on the map with my own show called Crippled, which is my own story about growing up with a disability, but even more so than that, it's more of a love story and universal themes of grief. So I wrote that. It's a great example of art as a healing power. My partner, Jonathan, passed away suddenly back in 2013. It took me many years to deal with that grief, and as an artist, the way I did it was through this play, Crippled. So it delves into that, and we've gotten great feedback and great reviews, and the best thing about it is, even though the lead character I play has a disability, the universal themes about grief and loss and love hits with everybody, and that's what people walk away with. And I'm so happy that people don't see that as a disabled play, as many people do when the topic of disability is brought to the stage. They saw it as a universal theme that everybody could relate to.
Talk to me for a moment about disabled versus differently abled. And when you hear those two terms, what comes to you?
They're all just terms. You know, people think you have a disability, you have all the answers. And I've done a lot of national conferences and everything for the arts, and I've learned it's what you feel comfortable with, differently abled or disabled. I always refer to I grew up with a disability or I live with a disability, but it's trying not to brand yourself as the disability, but instead of just seeing someone as a person, and whatever term you use. And I got a lot of negative flack at first because of the title I chose for my play, Crippled. But if you see the play, you see the title fits quite well. And I'm a child of the 70s and 80s, and back then when I was really young, that's what they called it, sure. Crippled. So it's just being truthful to the terminology at the time. And also in theater, it's sort of a reclaiming of that word, crippled.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love reappropriation and taking back the terms. Speaking in our final minute here, our final few seconds actually before we throw to the break, Slim, old buddy, What's it like to see your old friend again, hanging out and doing so well?
I'm proud. I'm happy. I think it's great. I think we crossed paths recently. Once you started doing the theater stuff, I saw you around, and I was like, holy shit, Paul from Holy Heart. So it was great.
Boom.
Yeah, throwback. And I mean, theater was heavy back then too. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so it was a big part of our lives. So that the influence is there.
Love it. Where can people find you online to check you out and what's going on next?
Check out Productions.Ca.
Right.
The next thing we got coming up is Prescription Murder, which is the original play that the TV series Columbo was based on.
Right.
And we're really excited about that. And we're doing it because A, it's a great show, but B, we have a diverse cast, meaning that we casted with people of various abilities.
Love it.
And we want to show that, hey, you can have a fun show with a diverse cast, and it doesn't always have to be heavy on disability issues.
Inclusion in the arts. It's our boy Paul Power. Thank you so much for coming by. After the break, we'll be right back. It's Out of the Fog. How do you think?
All right, girls.
Mom, you said it's played again.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is Out of the Fog on Rogers TV. So glad you're hanging out with us tonight. And maybe you're on that Ignite tip, but we'll talk about that after. Growing up, I heard nonstop stories about fairies, Logie Bay style, about how you'd come out and the baby would be gone and the breadcrumbs in the pocket and all this magic. And it's all part of folklore and the urban legend. And my friend in Creative Times, Mr. Keating, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So we were catching up before the segment began. We had first met working at a local agency.
Yes.
I was a designer, you were the copywriter, magic was made, and life went on, you know?
And
here we are, back together.
Yep.
So I would like to turn it over to you to talk about the bridge between the stories we've all heard, you know, fairy culture, and what you're doing in schools to keep our traditions alive.
Yeah, I've been touring since May with my business, which is called Newfoundland Land, and one of the main parts of that is called the Newfoundland Fairy Rescue. So at festivals and daycares, I've been going to daycares, which is a lot of fun because I like the little kids too. They're really you know, excited about it. And now that it's September, October, we're back into schools again. So we talk about Newfoundland fairy folklore. So we prep people, whether it's kids or adults. We say, you know, tell them about the different things around Newfoundland for protection from fairies, the most famous being bread in your pockets. But, you know, I heard a story the other day, and I'm always hearing more stories, one from a woman in Kitty Vitty about pennies in your shoes. So you keep hearing these different stories. So, you know, older people know the stories, the kids don't know the stories. So we're you know, giving them an introduction into Newfoundland folklore, and then we show them a real live fairy. So there's a little bit of magic there, and yeah, it's going really well. People love it, and that's just one of 3 exhibits that we have. But that's mobile, and we've been bringing that around to some of the smaller venues and stuff. Yeah,
Right. That's incredible. And I mean, I will ask you, what led you into this vocation?
Well, you know, I graduated from theater school a long time ago. Yeah, I haven't. Well, I'm acting again now. I haven't acted in 25 years, but now I'm doing it as part of this, and I'm really enjoying it. So, you know, there's a performance aspect to it. People who are working with me are trained actors, and when you enter this world, it's a you're totally immersed in the reality of the fairy professors, and what we do is absolutely real, and we're rescuing fairies because of what we tell kids is because of pollution and garbage and litter, those things harm the fairies, so they're learning about that as well. And you know, I have parents who email me or call me and say the kids are picking up garbage around the house now because they want to save the fairies. So there's that sort of part of it. But for me, I have a 5-year-old daughter and I have an 8-year-old son, but you know, my 5-year-old daughter loves fairies, but it's always TV fairies and somewhere else. But we have such a rich fairy tradition that goes back hundreds of years, and I want kids to use their imagination and think about, you know, the stories that we have here, and kind of be immersed in that. And older people come. The best part for me is when little kids come with their grandparents, because the grandparents get excited too, because they know the stories, and then they start talking about what they heard when they were kids. So it's kind of keeping that tradition alive in a new way. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think that's incredible work. And growing up, I lived down the road from my nan, and she always told us those stories.
Exactly.
You know? It is important to keep our folklore alive. And so talk to me about how tradition is serving you well as you go all across the province. I mean, what's the reaction?
Well, you know, the thing that I've discovered is the stories are different everywhere. Some places don't have as much of a tradition of fairy stories, and then the stories change wherever you go.
And what you're seeing while we're hanging out here in the B-roll in the background is the actual piece that you might see Keating bringing around to all the places. And it is a mixed media situation where it is virtual reality, augmented reality, and it's an engaging thing that you guys have to see to believe. And the photos hopefully are showing you that magic, but it brings what you're doing to life.
Yeah.
What an investment, what a provocative piece you've got on your hands.
Yeah, and I love doing it. I'm having a great time, and everybody, you know, enjoys it. You know, we have the other exhibits as well. One of them is called Tall Tales Giants of Placentia Bay. So we have like a giant 5-foot teacup and a lunchbox and these mittens, these different objects that came from an island in Placentia Bay. So we get to talk about resettlement and pre-Confederation Newfoundland, but it's about this family of giants, and they never stopped growing. So it's sort of mixing storytelling and we're sort of blurring the lines, because a lot of people are like, what's real and what's not here? It's like, well, it's a good story. So
that's the magic of being a Newfoundlander.
Yeah.
You know, you never really know.
Yeah.
Hey, Slim, it's in our final moment here. What do you think the value of Keating rolling up into one of the schools you teach at to remind us of our rich heritage?
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of incorporating what is current with what is historical. So especially cleaning up the environment to save the fairies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love I also like that because there is old tradition in believing that the fairies are kind of bad too. So like saving the fairies kind of puts a new face on that with an old tradition. Yeah. So yeah, it's great.
Where can people find you on the internets?
Newfoundlandland.ca is the website.
Right.
Most active on Facebook, which is also Newfoundlandland. So that's the place to find out what we're doing.
Can't wait. Guys, check him out. Check out that as it roams all across the province and the amazing work you're doing to keep our culture alive. Thank you so much, sir. We'll be right back, guys, after the break. This is Out of the Fog. It's Out of the Fog, a Local Matters bop on Rogers TV. Thank you so much. We had some great guests so far, and the best for last, you might say, Alison from CHHA. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. I am excited to have you on.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm nervous that we're going to talk about everything but the things we need to talk about.
Well, let's talk about that first.
Right. Okay. Let's go there. So, social enterprise, if you guys have not heard about this brand new, amazing, socially minded way to do business, it's what's up. So you really need to make sure that you know more about how you can work a value-based system into what it is you do every day. And that's what you thought about doing via CHHA. But first, I'll ask you, what is CHHA? Tell us all about it.
So it's the Canadian Hard of Hearing Association, Newfoundland and Labrador, and that is where I have worked for the past 14 years.
and we support individuals with hearing loss living here in the province.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
14 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Well, like, you're only like 18, so I don't know
Yeah.
how that's even possible. Whatever. So let's talk about social enterprise and what brought you to think about weaving that in to the organization that you work with.
Well, we're always looking for new program ideas to support the individuals here in the province. And so we offer at the association lip reading and speech reading classes, and we offer those classes in person. But for years, people in other areas of the province have been asking, can we have a class in our area? And we just didn't really have the instructor support for that.
Right.
So we decided to be innovative, and we have taken the class that we teach in person and put it into an online course. And it's called Read Our Lips.
It's a really nice name.
Oh yeah, it's all right. Some creative people came up with that name.
Yeah, I bet they're wicked.
They're great.
Yeah. So more about you. What was the journey like to go from, this would be an amazing idea, to what has now recently just launched at the farmers market at a cute little presentation last week?
It has been, the full process has been about a year and a half in the making, from idea, business planning, proposal writing, development, and creating the whole course. So we're pretty happy that it is launched and out there into the world for people to start learning more about lip reading and speech reading. And the course actually teaches people how to watch and identify lip movements and movements of the mouth, and then to be able to watch and practice those, and it helps with daily communication. So it's a really cool skill to learn.
I'd say. And it's interesting because, you know, when we interact with each other, we tend to pick up on mannerisms, language cues that are not out of the mouth. And yet, if you're hard of hearing, that's where you're going. You're immediately trying to lock in on someone's lip movements because you need that help to understand what they're saying. Yeah. I'm sure you have countless stories that you've heard over the years of challenges around that.
So many people have those stories. And the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that so many people have hearing loss. The number is actually 1 in 5 Canadians. So not everyone who's experiencing hearing challenges is necessarily even diagnosed as having a hearing loss, but many, many people struggle in what we would call challenging listening environments. So places where there's background noise, family events, social gatherings, in restaurants. And there's lots of noisy places where all of us could benefit from having better lip reading and communication skills. So while the primary audience is anyone with hearing loss, anyone who's interested can take this course.
That's amazing. It's true. Hearing environments or noisy environments, sometimes you're leaning in, you're straining. I mean, it's a good thing that hearing grows back, am I right?
No, hearing does not grow
back.
What?
No.
So anyone who works in noisy environments or who enjoys noisy activities is more susceptible to noise-induced hearing loss. So that's another kind of really passion project of mine, is working and training on hearing loss prevention. So that may be a future thing that we develop into an online course as well. But people really need to know that our hearing is valuable. It's a really important part of our ability to communicate. And when individuals start to have challenges with their hearing, it can really affect their life in so many ways. It can lead to so many mental health challenges, physical health challenges, because when you can't hear well, a lot of people will tend to stop doing the things that they enjoy or seeing the people that they enjoy seeing because they're not hearing the same way that they used to. And we want to kind of bring people back to their communities, back to their families, making communication easier for people. And the Read Our Lips course and learning to lip read and speech reading is sort of one piece of that puzzle. And we're really proud to be able to be supporting people no matter where they live, either in the province or in the world, because it's an online course and anyone can access it.
I think it's amazing. You know, CHHA, the organization, is so incredible and does such valuable work. Then there's you, someone who has been working hard as a facilitator, an educator, a trainer, and is very well known, I would like to think, in our Avalon region as someone who is so good at those types of things. How rewarding is it for you to take the work that you used to have to do face-to-face and be able to send it across the world?
It's really amazing. Of course, I love being face-to-face with people and getting to meet and interact with people, but I'm only one person, and you know, like so many nonprofit organizations, there's only so many of us to go around. And so this is really allowing us to reach people in their homes, where they are. They can take the Read Our Lips course at their own pace. It's a self-paced course. They can do it from their couch. They can do it from their local library. We're really bringing resources into pretty much every home and community here in the province and in Canada and wherever people are. And that's a really amazing thing. I'm so excited for what this course might be able to do and how it will help people.
I have no doubt that it will. We're in our final moment. I want to ask you how we can get a hold of this amazing tool. And right here in front of us, we see the URL. Tell us how we can get at it.
So the website is www.readourlips.ca, and there is actually a free preview of the course available there. So if you go on the website, you can sign up for a free preview and be able to see kind of how the course works and what it's all about. So we invite anyone and everyone to check that out.
Amazing. Make sure you hit it up, guys, and get engaged with lip reading and learn how to help people around you who may not even be able to tell you that they have a challenge with hearing. They'll appreciate you so much for getting involved and learning through that tool. Slim, you feel good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a little tiny bit of anxiety listening to all of the work noise-induced hearing loss that I can hear it just over the ringing in my ears.
Yeah, we'll chat later.
Yeah, possibly.
Hit me with a beat, boy. It is Out of the Fog, guys. Tune in next time. We'll see you soon.
Everybody gonna shine. I was born like this, don't even gotta try.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
You killed my brother. Now it is my pleasure to kill you and your entire family.
Hold on, mate. It just got out of the joint, mate. Literally this morning.
Enjoy your vacation.
You have talents and skills. Mostly, though, you're a blank key. You have the potential to open many doors.
My mother said we had to leave home. The communists were going to take my father away. If my parents were afraid, they didn't show us. But we would never forget our escape from Vietnam. We were lost.
What was your job in Vietnam?
University professor.
We had no home.
Do you have any family in Canada?
No, sir.
Nobody wanted us.
Welcome to Canada.
Canada chose us.
Canadians open their borders, their homes, and their hearts to more than 100,000 refugees fleeing persecution after the Vietnam War.
We were home.
You're watching Rogers TV, St. John's.